Go.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Monday edition of Pro Line with Jim Price and Dave Kogan. We're going to recap the weekend, talk about some a little Monday morning quarterbacking as far as the NFL is concerned, and take a look at tonight's game as well. Jim, how'd your weekend make out?
Well, Dave, I've been making some money. I have to admit, your 5-0 in college football was extremely good this week. I didn't do that well in college football, but I did extremely well in the college basketball. I'm 11-6 in that area. The pro football was good on a couple of fronts, and there's a lot of great analysis on the pro football that is going to lead to a lot of winners coming down the path, because these teams have really taken shape, bad and good, that we can reflect on. And I'll have to tell you this, that favorites are hitting about 70% the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's been incredibly bad for the books and incredibly good for the Joes. The Sharps are losing their butt, and the books are losing their butt, but the Joes are winning because they like to play favorites. And that is very unusual, Dave, that kind of extreme winning streak for these favorites. I think it was 9-3 over the weekend, or 9-4 over the weekend. It was incredible.
Yeah, the Trump went 12-3. I did go 5-0 this week in college football. I'm happy with the college basketball. The NFL yesterday wasn't so good, but I'm going to have days like that. The early plays, the games turned out on Sunday night and posted to the website. They're now 11-3 in the season. And this week's early play is also going to be my game of the week. And I've won 6 of the last 7 on those. So get it now. It's at JimPrice.com, and it's available right now. Get it up on this week's college football. This isn't one of the marquee games, but it doesn't much matter as far as the money's concerned. You're going to pick up a winner with this game. So the NFL chalk this week, 12-3. Jim, history is repeating itself, because this is what happened last season as well. And the stretch drive, the good teams just kept on beating the crap out of the bad teams. They couldn't set the numbers high enough. And I got to tell you something. I mean, at this point, if you bet on the Cleveland Browns, you're not sharp, you're just dumb. Okay? I mean, it's that simple. They never win, they never cover, and yet the sharps keep coming, the so-called sharps keep coming in on them. Let's identify the sharps here, what's being called sharps. They're analytics guys, and generally speaking, the analytics will offer value on big underdogs. That's the way it's always been, only it hasn't been that way the last few years in the NFL. And at some point, you either have to go with the flow, or you're going to keep losing money. It's as simple as that. And, I already know they'll come in on the Browns again this week. They can have them. Maybe they'll finally win one, and nobody can lose them all. But this is going to be a bad deal. Going against New England is a bad deal. Going against Philadelphia is a bad deal. From a value standpoint, it makes sense because the lines are inflated, but it doesn't matter because they keep covering anyway. So at that point, it's not a sharp bet. It's just a stupid bet, in my opinion.
Well, I'm not going to go that far to say it's stupid. There's been you and I have been around in this game for 40 years or so, and that's each, not collectively. So we've seen a lot of things, and they go through streaks. One of the things that we have always heard, and we know, that the sharper players don't bet teams, they bet numbers.
Right.
So, and over the years, if you go back over 40, 50 years of doing this, the betting the numbers takes all the emotion out of the game, and emotion is what the average player uses when they bet a team. They see it, they believe it, what they saw last is what they think is going to happen next, and so the sharp players betting value over a long period of time, a decade, 2 decades, they're usually going to be ahead. However, there's a big split in talent now in the NFL.
You just hit on the difference, because for all these years, we've had an any given Sunday setup in the NFL where the parity was good, was close enough, so that the top of the league and the bottom of the league weren't as far apart as they are now. And that is an absolute, it's not an opinion on my part, that is a fact. That the top of the league is way further away from the bottom of the league than it's been in a long time. Now, whether this is just a fluke period, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But right now, the very bottom of the league is absolutely terrible, and the very top of the league is really, really good. And there is basically a 3-touchdown difference between the top of the league and the bottom of the league. So you can take all the analytics in the world, they don't matter. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I can't say that it's going to happen. Maybe this week the Browns come through, but if you're asking me whether the Chargers are 2 touchdowns better than the Browns, yes, they're absolutely 2 touchdowns better than the Browns, and they're not even the top of the league. But that's how bad the Browns are, and there's a couple of teams right there with them. And the Giants are absolutely terrible. The 49ers are terrible. And these teams don't cover spreads. They're that bad. They find ways not to cover on a weekly basis.
In 1993, we had a great draft of quarterbacks. And that was the Dan Marino draft and Jim Kelly. And so that was 24 years ago. So off of that, we've had other good quarterbacks come into the league. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, et cetera, et cetera. So if you take these teams that have marginal quarterbacks or inexperienced quarterbacks or backup inexperienced quarterbacks, they don't play very well and they make a lot of mistakes. Now let's take a look. I mean, we make this into a lesson. Cincinnati was a 7-point favorite. They won by 14. So they beat the spread by 7. Philadelphia was a 14-point favorite. They won by 28. So they beat the spread by 14. The New England Patriots were a 17-point favorite. They won by 18, which is 1 point above the spread. So I'm just taking the teams. The Falcons were a 10-point favorite, and they won by 14. So they beat the spread by 4. You know, he got Carolina was a 6-point favorite, and they were damn lucky to win the game. They won by 7, which is 1 point over the spread. Yeah. You know, the Titans should have lost to the Colts. Somehow they beat the Colts. They won by 4, laying 3, so they beat the spread by 1. So a lot of this can be considered an overreaction. Seattle was a 7-point favorite. They won by 11, so they beat the spread by 4. You know, they got the Rams. 2.5, 3-point favorite. They won by 6. They beat the spread by 3. So you have situations here. The Raiders were up 21-0, and then they just coasted. So that was more of a blowout than it really was. And of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers with Mike Tomlin, he's famous for playing down to his competition. He made the Green Bay Packers look like world beaters, and they almost lost the game straight up. So what we have here is, why do the sharp players that play only numbers, in other words, take the names of the teams off the sheet and just put A, B, C, D all the way down the alphabet and look at the statistics and play the numbers off of your statistics, you will win money in the long run. But you will have aberrational short-term streaks like we have right now. It's like if you go to the crap table and you roll 7s all day. Aberrational short-term streaks come into play. And this is one of those. Also, what's happening here, with these streaks being like this and the bookmakers getting killed, the odds makers, which are different than the bookmakers, they're not adjusting enough. So where the game is a 14-point favorite, it should be 15 or 15.5 or 16. Why? Because most of the public is coming in and laying that number and winning money. So you want to take a little bit away from them and make them lay a slightly worse number. So when they're winning by 1 point over the spread, it isn't enough to cover the number.
Yeah, and I get all that. I'm simplifying it and saying they're not making the numbers high enough. They're compensating too much for the analytics guys, and then consequently the public is coming in and bombing them.
And like you said, that same thing happened last year.
Yeah, that's right. And, this is not knocking the, I guess you can call it a knock on the odds makers if you want. I can tell you this. If you go back, if this had been taking place when Bob Martin was the primary odds maker, you'd be seeing different numbers than you're seeing now. And you would not be seeing the reaction. Because Bob Martin, back in the old days, the odds makers reacted more to respected money than just blindly moving it on dollars, which they do now. I think it's a whole different ballgame. And to me, look, I'm not taking credit for being smart here because I haven't taken advantage of it as much as I should in the NFL, but I'm starting to put it that way. I mean, I can tell you this. I am not, they can make the number 40, and I'm not going to go to New England and Philadelphia. I'm not going to do it. They're just that much better than everybody else. And the same can be said for a few other teams. And that's just the way it is. I'm going to look for matchups where I can get perhaps some value on evenly matched teams. But other than that, I'm not going to fear. Look, and by the way, the best analytics model that I know in the NFL was at odds with most of the so-called shops yesterday. They had the Eagles by 20. They had the Patriots by 25. They had the Bengals by 11. They had the Falcons by 13. These are numbers that were well off what most of the analytics producers were coming up with. They won. They won big. So I guess what I'm saying is that a lot of the numbers guys, their numbers aren't that good. Okay? That's my opinion.
Well, Dave, there's a lot of ways to use numbers. And whatever system or site that you went to, they apparently have the right answers. But you got back in the day of Bob Martin being the bookmaker, the odds maker, both actually. There was cybermetrics didn't really exist then.
No, they weren't around.
There was no internet. There were no cell phones. Everything was seat of the pants. What you see is what the players see and what the fans see and what the Joes and the pros see and the reaction. And he knew that the Joes would overreact to anything that they see. So I knew Bob. I knew Bob.
The numbers according to that.
Well, he knew exactly what he was doing, but he did it without having to concern himself with the cybermetrics guys because it didn't exist.
I can't swear to it, but I can. Well, I probably can. There's no way, if Bob Martin was around, there's no way he would have opened the Bengals 8, and there's no way he would have ever moved that line to 7.5 yesterday. Would not have happened. That line would have been higher, and he wouldn't have budged off, and if anything, he would have gone up. That's the difference, in my opinion, between yesterday and today. I'm not saying that, and again, that's not a knock on today's guys because they have to do things a certain way to try to balance the books. But I think in terms of instinct, maybe you could argue that yesterday's odds makers were better. They have more free range.
Dave, I have to take the other side of this though. Back in the day when Bob was handling everything, the marketplace was so much different. It was smaller.
Oh, sure.
The games weren't televised. The amount of bets that were being taken were much smaller and in fewer places. It was a different world, and I don't think we can judge. I think these odds makers are doing a good job, but they're also younger, and they're brought up in the cybermetrics world, and they can't get away from the fact that the best players play numbers and not teams. And that mentality right now is costing them. But it's just aberrational. This isn't normal. But I will say this to you, that there's no reason whatsoever for the Cleveland Browns to give a damn about winning a football game collectively. Now, you may get an effort here or there, or San Francisco. All these players now are playing for their jobs. They don't care about their record so much as they want to make sure they're on the roster next year. Because all of these players don't have, contracts for 5 years for $200 million or whatever. They're not all at that level. So these guys have to play hard to make sure they have a job next year or next week or next month.
The players might play hard, but the game planning, I'll use San Francisco as an example. They're not even using their best quarterback.
Yes,
you've got to put that in the number.
Okay, so tell me, let's dig into that a little bit. Everybody has a question as to why aren't they playing Garoppolo?
I don't know why, but I know they're not. Garoppolo is the best quarterback on that team. It's not even close.
Okay, let me throw a possibility at you, and I don't know that this is true, and it's just a possibility. There's a lot of people that would love to get Garoppolo. A lot of teams would love to get Garoppolo. And San Francisco needs a lot more than a quarterback to be competitive. So what happened there is San Francisco got Garoppolo at a bargain basement price. So he's worth a lot more on the open market than they paid for him. So they might be able to get 5 or 6 really good players from another team for Garoppolo. Or they could just franchise tag him next year.
What I'm saying is, if you know going in that a team is not, the organization is not trying to win the game, and that's the way it is, okay? Now, to me, it calls, first of all, 2 things. It calls into question the integrity of the game itself. But the 49ers, some of the players might be playing hard, and the coaching staff trying to win with what they've got. But the orders from the top, clearly, we are not putting our best team on the field. That has to be input into the line.
So there's 2 possibilities for that.
And it's not in the line.
It's a possibility for that. Okay, A, they want to shop him for a lot of players that they could get from some other team that would maybe really need him, or so they don't want to get him hurt. So they don't put him on the field to get him hurt. Or they're trying to get the number 1 draft choice. So either one of those possibilities, or both could be the possibility. It makes no sense, and I agree with you. It makes no sense.
The only point I'm making here, what they do as far as an organization, I don't care about that. They can do all they want there. What I'm saying is that when I'm making a line on yesterday's Seattle-San Francisco game, and I didn't bet it, which makes me an idiot. But I made that line 3 points higher than where the odds makers did. Not because Seattle is 10 points better than San Francisco, but I'm docking the 49ers 3 points because they're clearly not trying to win the football game. And that's something, to me, you make a line on this week, he might play this week because the Beckman got hurt. So maybe the line this week will be more on target. But I'm going to tell you, if Beckman's out there on Sunday, I'm going to lay the points with the Bears because the Bears are trying to win football games. They're not very good, but they are putting their best people on the field. So that to me is something that's got to be input into the line. Anyway, a couple of things from yesterday. Go ahead.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
I was just going to get to yesterday's stuff, which we didn't cover. A couple of things we from highlight game. Bills, that was a great bounce back by them with Taylor at quarterback. I wasn't sure how they'd react, but they went out and played well. And the Chiefs might be in a situation where they might have to take a look at Mahomes at this point. Alex Smith is playing really bad football.
Well, what's the cause of that, Dave? Is it Alex, or is it a combination of their offensive coordinator? Is it Andy Reid? What the hell happened to this team that was 5-0 and they've now lost 5 out of 6?
Well, I'll give you a couple of things. One is the running back, Kareem Hunt, hit the rookie wall, and he's not running anywhere near like he did. No explosiveness that he had early in the season, which stands to reason. He's a rookie. He's never been through the schedule before, and I think he's worn down. Smith is just not playing well. He's making bad throws. he's in a slump. And, maybe they need to try and shake it up. It's not a comfortable situation. The Falcons and the Panthers are both getting hot. And the Jaguars, they blew a game yesterday. What they were doing at the end of regulation, I have no idea. These coaches do some of the dumbest shit I have ever seen and get away with it. And it cost the Jaguars a chance to get to overtime yesterday. Unbelievably stupid coaching. Throwing the ball on second down in a situation which allowed the other team to save a timeout. It was just absolutely incredibly dumb. How do these guys not understand risk versus reward? It's the simplest concept out there, and they can't figure it out.
There's no question. There's been a lot of time management issues with a lot of head coaches, offensive coordinators. I don't agree with you that the Carolina Panthers are getting hot. I think the New York Jets gave them that game yesterday, and I was very unimpressed with Carolina and the way they played. Yes, they won, and yes, they covered, but I was very unimpressed with them. I do say that the Panthers, the Saints, and the Falcons are in a hell of a war to win that NFC South division. That is going to be a battle, and two of those teams meet this week.
Yeah, and although the Saints, now this is 2 games in a row, they got lucky against the Redskins, really lucky with that great comeback. They were clearly the second-best team in the field yesterday against the Rams. I lost the game. I had the Saints, and I knew it was on the wrong side of it pretty early. The Rams they were completely superior. And to me, it wasn't even a 6-point game. It could have been more lopsided than that. So I'm very impressed with the way the Rams bounced back from the loss to the Vikings. And I think the Saints might have hit their peak. And I have a feeling they're going to start to maybe go the other way a little bit. If it wasn't for Kamala yesterday, they'd have gotten blown out in that game.
Yeah, that kid's been a find. He's been incredibly good. And the running back, if you notice, the running back is back this year. And I predicted that at the beginning of the year that the teams would learn they have to run the football and forget about 50 passes per game. They got to run the football to be good, and that's what a lot of these teams are starting to do. The Atlanta Falcons are starting to step up their game a little bit, and they're starting to look a little bit like last year.
Yeah, I think they finally got rid of the hangover.
Yeah.
And Julio Jones is really hot now, and he's one of those elite guys who can just change the game by himself. Look, we've gone pretty long today talking about this stuff, so let's get the free play out. I'm going to go with the Winnipeg Jets at -115 tonight in the NHL for the free play, and I've got a big college game up for this weekend. It's my game of the week. It's also my early selection. 6 out of 7 of the last 7 games of the week. 11 is free for the season on the early plays. Get this game now on the website at jimfights.com. And Jim, you've got great stuff up as well.
Absolutely. I don't have any college up yet. I do have some NFL. I do not have a college basketball game up for today, but I will tomorrow. I will say that Dave has been red hot. You want to get on top of his college football for sure. I mean, he's been incredibly hot. So you want to go to the website, jimfights.com or vegassportsmasters.com, and get those plays. I'm going to have a special package for all the championship games this week. I'm going to cover each and every championship game in college football. It's going to be an exciting week. I don't know what your opinion is, Dave, but who are those teams going to be in the Final Four in college football is exciting. I don't know if it's going to be decided on the field or by politics, but it's going to be fun to watch.
It'll probably be politics, which is why I focus on the game. I just focus on the games that I know are going to be played, and I'll worry about the other stuff when it happens. All right, that's going to do it for the Monday edition of ProLine. We'll come up with something good for tomorrow as well. I hope you listen in. Good night, everybody.